This is Planet Pulse for Wednesday, June 14th. The moon is in Sagittarius today. I'm Jeff Jower.
And I'm Rick Levine. The moon is in Sagittarius. The sign opposite Sagittarius is Gemini. We have Venus and the Sun and Mercury in Gemini. We're coming into a full moon eclipse tomorrow. The energies are being pulled. The optimism of the Sagittarius moon is setting off the casualness of the Gemini energy.
Yeah, absolutely. We always feel the energy rising as we're coming toward a full moon, but this is particularly important because it is a lunar eclipse. And a lunar eclipse, well, we'll get into it more when we come back to you tomorrow. Let's talk about some of the setup today, because even though Sagittarius is about as buoyant, enthusiastic, and outgoing sign as there is in the zodiac, and even the sun in Gemini is pretty light, lively, bright, and sprightly. We have two so-called minor aspects today that put some dark shadows in the midst of this more luminous environment.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And although I might take exception at the use of the traditional concept of minor aspects, I don't think there's anything minor today when Mars makes a square and a half, even though technically it's theoretically less important than a square or a trine. It's still Mars, the planet of go, of yes, of thrusting forward. Mars in determined Taurus is forming a square and a half, a sesqui-square with Saturn, the planet of stop. So it's almost like we're punching on the brake and we're punching on the gas, Mars, and reality at the same time as punching on the brake. It's hard to get our acceleration right because there's frustration, there's too fast, there's not fast enough. It's hard to get the momentum right. And then we add into that mix the second aspect that you were talking about, which is a quincunx.
Yeah, an awkward quincunx angle of 150 degrees.
It's even awkward to say.
It is, quincunx, and not as difficult as sesqui-square, sesquiquadrate. But at any rate, Venus, the planet of lovability, of pleasure, of enjoyment, of approval, is in this awkward 150-degree angle with Pluto, the master of disapproval, or at least the master of deeper investigation. So that's the kind of aspect that we find on a day when you can say something polite and get a sort of negative or dark response to it. There's something that's missing or off focus with the pleasantries of Venus today. So being able to recognize that even the kindest words may be taken in a less than kind manner is not somebody's problem or your problem necessarily, but a reflection of this imperfect environment.
Yeah, it's almost, Jeff, I get the feeling like it's hard to gauge not only how much to assert before it becomes aggressive. Right. That's the Mars to the Saturn side, but then it's also making it even more complicated. It's hard to gauge whether or not what we want is worth the price that Pluto's going to extract from us, which in some way sets up the energy for tomorrow's full moon eclipse. I'm Rick Levine.
And I'm Jeff Jower, inviting you to join Rick and me here tomorrow and every day on Planet Pulse.